Welcome back, everyone, to Stories That Shouldn't Be Told. In today's episode, I'm sharing a true terrifying story about a lonely stretch of highway and the predator waiting for stranded travelers. Every story is a warning. Some roads should never be driven alone. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and share it with anyone who loves a good scare. And let me know in the comments, what are your favorite types of horror stories? Your support keeps the stories coming. Now, let's begin. I'm sharing this story because I need people to understand what's really happening on our highways. What I experienced 3 years ago still haunts my dreams, and I'm convinced I'm lucky to be alive. I was driving alone from Portland to Denver when my car broke down on a remote stretch of highway in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. No cell service, no traffic, just endless empty road stretching in both directions. After an hour of failed attempts to flag down help, I saw headlights approaching. A rusted pickup truck pulled over, and out stepped a man who immediately made my skin crawl. He was tall and gaunt, with hollow eyes that seemed to look right through me. His clothes were stained with something dark, and he smelled like rotting meat mixed with motor oil. "Need some help there?" he asked, but his voice had this sing-song quality that didn't match his appearance. Something was very wrong, but I was desperate and miles from anywhere. He popped my hood and started poking around, muttering to himself in a way that made me step back toward my car. "Looks like you need a tow," he said, straightening up with that same disturbing smile. "I know a place not too far from here." The way he said place made my blood run cold. I told him I'd wait for AAA, but he laughed and said no one would find me out here for days. As he spoke, I noticed something horrifying in the bed of his truck. What looked like personal belongings scattered around, purses, luggage, and what appeared to be bloodstains on the metal. My heart started pounding when I realized some of the items looked feminine, like they'd belonged to women traveling alone. "You know what? I think I'll just wait," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. His demeanor changed instantly. The fake helpfulness vanished, replaced by something predatory and cold. He stepped closer, and I could see his hands were stained with the same dark substance as his clothes. "I don't think you understand," he said, reaching toward his jacket. "You're coming with me either way." That's when I saw the knife handle poking out of his pocket and realized this man had probably killed other stranded motorists on this very stretch of road. I pretended to stumble and fell behind my open car door, then quickly locked myself inside. He started banging on the windows, screaming about how I couldn't hide forever and that he knew these roads better than anyone. The sound of his fists hitting the glass will never leave my memory. Somehow, my engine turned over on the 4th try. I floored it, leaving him standing in my dust, but I could see him in my rearview mirror running back to his truck. Within minutes, I saw those same headlights appear behind me, growing larger as he gained ground. My car was already struggling, and his truck was clearly more powerful on these empty highways. The chase lasted for what felt like hours, but was probably only 20 minutes. He stayed right behind me, sometimes pulling alongside like he was trying to ram me off the road. I could see his face in the darkness, twisted with rage, screaming something I couldn't hear over my racing engine. Every time I thought I'd lost him around a curve, those headlights would reappear, relentless as a nightmare. My gas gauge was dropping fast, and I knew I couldn't outrun him much longer. Just when I thought he was about to force me off the road, I crested a hill and saw the most beautiful sight of my life: the lights of a truck stop ahead. I pulled in and immediately started honking my horn and flashing my lights, drawing attention from everyone in the parking lot. He drove past without stopping, but I saw him slow down and stare at me through his windshield. Even from that distance, I could feel the hatred in his eyes and knew he was memorizing my face. When I finally reached a gas station, the attendant said 3 people had gone missing on that same highway in the past 2 years. All of them were traveling alone with car trouble. The police found evidence of foul play, but never found them or their killer. I gave them a full description and license plate number, but when they investigated, the truck had been abandoned and torched. They never caught him, which means he's probably still out there, still hunting for stranded travelers on empty highways. I refuse to drive alone on remote roads now. Every time I see a broken down car, I call 911 immediately, because I know there are monsters out there disguised as good Samaritans, and next time, the victim might not be as lucky as I was. That was the highway predator. If you made it to the end, consider yourself lucky. Not everyone who meets a stranger on the highway makes it home. So before your next late night drive, like this video, share it with someone who travels alone, and subscribe, because there are more real horror stories waiting for you. Out there, headlights are more than just lights in the dark. Sometimes they belong to predators.